Radio Rahim here with Don Charles. I haven't had a wink of sleep since the final bell rung last night here in Saudi for 5v5. I can't imagine that if you've gotten your head to a pillow, that was very restful because the energy coming off of Daniel Dubois in the locker room after the post-fight press conference and leading up really to this event, all that was at stake. I don't know how you could even get a wink of sleep.
Yeah, well, you're quite right. Myself and my team, the team, we all go through some roller coaster emotion, pre-fight, post-fight, and we're all walking around. We're all staying in this lovely apartments, and we're all walking around in a daze. You know, it's kind of we've come a long way. The team, I've had the same team. There's a couple of new members that have joined us. And what a moment for all of us, you know. Yeah, we're still walking around in a daze, like you quite rightly pointed out. We haven't had no sleep. I don't need to sleep.
You talk about the emotional roller coaster. I know you're an emotional guy. Like, you put your heart and soul into every fighter, really. And Daniel also has like a sensitive side. Like, people like him because he feels like real and accessible, because he has kind of a human touch beyond being a warrior.
Authentic. He's an authentic person, and that's nice. That's very rare in the world that we live in today.
And the guy he was facing, you know, was a very stoic and at times in the build-up dismissive of Daniel.
Correct.
Fighter.
I did say it from my observations, because it's my duty. I've been around for a long time, and when you're doing this job, there's certain things you develop. Like, I've started to read human beings' body languages and speech from my observations of Mr. Hrgovic. Complacency, I always say, is a killer disease, and he was very complacent with his views and approach. He took it for granted, and I don't even think he put a full or a real camp in for this fight. Yeah?
It appeared like he really did believe he was going to get Dubois out there early. Early rounds, he was having success.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
What were you seeing first 2-3 rounds that were giving you concern, if you were concerned?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's there for all to see. That was not the plan, to come out taking right hands after right hands after right hands with 10-ounce gloves. No, that's not the plan. It's like going into, you know me, I always give football analogies. So it's almost like going into a football game. You're conceding 5 goals, but you've won the game. You scored 7. You've conceded 5. There's a concern there. Yeah, learn to win by 3-1, 4-1. Yeah, don't concede 5 goals to score 7. So we have to go back to the drawing board and make sure we don't leak.
Yeah, because unlike soccer, conceding those goals mean that's 5 punches in the face.
Exactly. Yeah, but you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean, which is why you don't want to concede those goals additionally.
Yeah, you've won, but you've let in
this incredible
no, that's not good.
Battering unnecessarily. With that said, though, because so many people question Daniel's mettle, he went a long way in the last fight before Hrgovic to dispel that type
narrative
of image with Miller. But to see him overcome an early type of battering, where if the fight kept going that way, we all know that, under that kind of withering, you're probably not going to get the victory. What point did you turn it around, and was it strategic or was it mental?
Mental, in the sense that, his dad, Daniel's father, Mr. Dubois Sr., I don't think he's ever done an interview of any type over the years. Yeah, I'm trying to encourage him to do it, because when all the lights are out, he's the one at home mentoring his son, raising he's well documented in all his children. He's done a lot of work with them, and it's not just me. Yes, Daniel's been working with myself for literally 12 months. There is an influence, of course. There has to be. I'm an older citizen, where, there's a saying in life: you are the company you keep, and the environment that you occupy or mix with, you will feed off that, and that's exactly what you're seeing with Daniel. When I was growing up in Africa, there's when the elders talk, you don't speak, but you're here, you're observing the way the brain works. You'll go when you start sounding like them. So that's that's what's happening to Daniel. Where the company, you are the company you keep, you become the company you keep. So he's in good company, basically.
As the rounds continued, though, where would you say was the turning point when it was like, okay, this isn't the path we want to take. This is, as you say, not the plan. Where did you switch on?
Right. Basically, I'm the chief trainer, and my team, because we already know what the game plan is. Daniel knows what the game plan is. We had to keep insisting that he does the basics that we wanted him to do. That's all Daniel needs, basic stuff. Basic fundamentals. He resorted back to doing the basic things. Keep your guard tight. Take your head off center. Lateral movement we've been working on. Okay. Footwork, coming off. Basically, all this leads to coming off the firing line. He went back to doing that. Once we started doing that and double jabbing, because Filip Hrgovic, during our studies, he relies on the person to throw a single jab. He's got a perfect drawback counter he does. We're aware of that. So we have to throw feints and we have to double jab. 70% of our jabs has to be a double jab, not single. So when he went back to doing what we'd rehearsed to do, he started to get success. From about round 4, he took over. Daniel took over.
It was a war of attrition with Miller, and it looked to be the same with Hrgovic. Ultimately, Daniel did break him down. Were you able to see cracks coming before the knockout where you're like, okay, Daniel's not just having success with the technique I'm putting forward, but now he's starting to win the mental battle. Like Hrgovic is starting to retreat in his mind.
Correct. Because he took Hrgovic's power shots. And although we don't want to take those shots, but his reaction surprised Hrgovic. You've hit a man with a good shot, your best shot. He's not supposed to be standing. So I think that kind of broke Hrgovic's heart and soul. Yeah, you could see his demeanor started to change. And Daniel wasn't just taking those punches, he was coming straight back at him. So that element of surprise. Yeah. And when it's written, I keep saying, people think I'm this crazy old man. I'm a spiritualist man. When it's written already, we knew we had to go through some rough waters, as Teddy Atlas, my apologies, will always say, you're going to have to go through some treacherous waters to get to your, some dark alleys, That's what we had to do last night. There were turbulent periods, but we knew that we're going to definitely get to our destination last night. And Daniel Dubois had to walk through fire, literally, to get his victory last night.
Now, the double jab, that's a fundamental that, absolutely changes the game on a fighter who's looking for an immediate counterpunch. But I've been in the gym with you. I've been on the pads, and I'll tell you the moment, since you clearly don't know. It was the hook to the body, hook to the head.
Right.
That was the change.
That's my money shot.
When that started landing,
Yeah.
I seen it. I was like, oh, I've been there. I know that one.
Absolutely. So that's part of my trade secrets. So now that you know, I'm going to have to kill you.
No. We'll cut that part out.
Absolutely.
Cut that part out.
Erase my... Right. So the only heavyweights you'll find doing that is Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield. They're the type of fighters that would do that type of combination. Heavyweights don't usually do that type of combination.
Do you think that this knockout of Hrgovic is maybe more inspiring, even more of a statement than Jarrell Miller?
No, they're very relevant in their own ways. Remember, the Miller fight was where Daniel had to prove to himself. Remember, he went into that fight by being labeled a quitter. So he did that. Tick that box. I'm not a quitter. He answered his doubters and critics. This one, again, required... we had to build another layer of confidence that I've already passed the first level of saying to people, I'm not a quitter. And this one, he was tested again. So it's not a fluke, the first one. This is a confirmation. Doubters are still going to doubt, because that's all they do. They doubt their own lives. Yeah? they doubt their own lives. So how they're gonna not doubt you or me or anyone else? So that's what doubters do.
Well, one of the blessings, I think, of 2 victories in a row like that, coming back to back, like in short order, is he stays busy, he stays focused, and you've got another fight right on the horizon. Now, granted, it hasn't been announced, but it has been spoken of, and it is expected that definitely the biggest fight of Daniel's career is coming on the biggest stage, even bigger than Saudi. We're looking at Anthony Joshua at Wembley. Like, for a British fighter in particular, it doesn't really get bigger than that. And a world title fight will most likely be on the line as well. So what do you do now in between this day and starting camp? I mean, is it relax, rest, and then get ready for camp? Is it party? Is it no rest at all? We get back in the gym?
No. There's no party. We don't do party. We do gatherings, but there's no parties. Daniel needs a couple of weeks break because he's gone back-to-back camps. Then we go back into camp, and if we're fighting in September, we have to get back into. He's a young man; he can do it. This is the time to work. He's young. He's 26 years old.
He's 26 years old. We're in Saudi Arabia. He's the talk of the town. We're in this decadent surroundings. They're only going to get nicer with more victories. You've even said that you want to, keep it to the grindstone. You don't want to be in this luxury setting when you're getting prepared for a fight. How do you make sure that this kind of decadence and luxury and environment doesn't seep into a 26-year-old who's just had 2 really big wins? He had huge horizon. Like, why shouldn't he party a little bit? Why shouldn't he relax and enjoy the treasures that he's won?
There's plenty of time to do that when you're retired. He's got 4 years. I'd like that young man to become unified, undisputed in the next 4 years. Then he's still only 30 years old. Then you got all your life to do what? Yeah, that is the plan.
How do you keep a 26-year-old committed to that plan? That's tough.
It's tough, but it's very doable because of the family he comes from, in the background. Like I said, his father has never been to speak for himself. From my observation, that man, what he has done with his children in terms of how he's brought them through, raised them through, and they're all well mannered, and they're no right and wrong. Just blessed. They're blessed.
Well, he's not the only one that had a lot to prove, and not because your career doesn't speak for itself, but because people are constantly criticizing and speaking for you and what you're capable of doing, and judging you, of course, by the performance of your fighters. Sometimes it's down to the game plan, and sometimes it's down to the execution. Like, maybe the fighter doesn't do what they're supposed to do, and there's not a whole lot a trainer can do in that circumstance, but you will take the brunt of the criticism if the fighter doesn't execute. So the fact that Daniel executed twice, and you came under some withering criticism, especially early on with your relationship with Daniel, whether or not this was going to work. And notably before the fight, we heard Danny Nelson chime in and say that Billy Nelson, chime in and say that Daniel was going to get washed last night, that he was going to get mentally and physically destroyed, and that's down to you not being able to prepare him for a fight like Hrgovic.
Yeah, like, there's a saying in our industry, it's his opinion, and they say, I never swear when I do interviews, it's a promise to myself, but I will say opinions are like assholes, and everybody's got one.
Yeah. Well, does it bother you when those assholes talk a lot of shit about you personally?
Do I look bothered to you? No. I know my destiny, where I'm trying to go, what I'm trying to do. Yeah? You can carry on criticizing. Guess what it does? It gives me rocket fuel to keep climbing. That's partly what drives me. I'm a winner. I'm an underdog. I've always been an underdog. From the moment I came out of my mother's womb, My late mother, God rest her soul, I've been an underdog. People don't know my story. We've all got stories they don't know. Yeah, I cannot be broken. I cannot, because only my dear friend Matt Morrison, the singer, Return of the Mac, he always says, only God can judge me. Yeah, only God who made me can judge me. None of you are fit to judge me.
When you talk about people not knowing your story and not understanding what you bring to it, you know, fighters move around. They early in their career train with people, then sometimes they have success, and then they change trainers when, you know, at the first loss. And there are so many pieces to the puzzle, and you are a part and a piece of a lot of puzzles out there. You've influenced a lot of fighters, and Anthony Joshua being one in a major way. Your relationship with him is very close. It's storied. There's no way that the Anthony Joshua we see today or the success he had comes without Don Charles being a part of that puzzle. At least not the way it is, because that's reality.
Correct.
You're a piece of that
Correct.
story.
Correct.
And so now it appears that Daniel Dubois is like a defining fighter for you. It's that time of your career. If you can take this man to the heights that you just described, especially in the next 4 years, that's your crowning achievement. But it has to go through a fighter you love, a fighter you've had such a long relationship with and been a part of his success. Where does that inner kind of struggle lie with you?
Yeah, it's, again, I'm an emotional guy, even when you're saying it, because, I'm very sensitive, and I couldn't have written that. So that's the way, when I keep talking about destiny, that's the way it was written. If I'm not going to elaborate today because we don't have a lot of time. If I told you my story, I've never told it publicly with the connection with Anthony Joshua, you will start crying for me. I will start crying again. So I want, not today, it's for another day. And to then where my new charge, Daniel Dubois, looks most probably that he'll be facing off again. I mean, that's the way it's been written. That's the way it's been written. Destiny.
I know that 100% of your loyalties will be to your man in whose corner you're in. But with the understanding, an intimate understanding of how Joshua fights and the way he's come through the ranks, you have to have a special kind of insight that just any other trainer is not going to have. Is it difficult for you to use that to break him down instead of to build him up as you have over all these many years?
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like I said, I have to put that head on. Right now, I'm still floating, in a daze because of last night's performance by Daniel. So when we now go into that, if that is what's going to materialize, or that's what's been spoken of at the moment, when it's concrete, then I can elaborate, then put that hat on. Yeah. I'll give you a quick example. This is probably the second time it would happen to me in my career. A boxer called Danny Williams,
Yeah, I remember Danny Williams,
famously beat Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Danny Williams was my junior at my amateur club when I was active as an amateur boxer. Yeah. He was my official sparring partner at the age of, he was 17 years old. I was 26 years old, but he was my official sparring partner because we both boxed for the same club. Okay. And Spencer Fearing was at that club. Okay. Now, lo and behold, I retired from fighting as an amateur. Daniel turned professional and went and achieved what he achieved. I'm so proud of him. I thought, oh my God, what could I have done as a pro? I would have done really well because I was Daniel's senior at my club. I'm 12 years older than Daniel Williams. Right. Fast forward. I started training a man who brought me into boxing, which I owe Derek Chisora. My boxing career is Derek Chisora. Okay? Then he gets his first title shot as a professional for the British title. Guess against who? Danny Williams. So imagine how I felt. I have to train someone to go and beat a kid that I used to raise in my club. We have to do it. And Derek stopped him in 2 rounds to win the British title. So imagine how I felt bittersweet. Of course, I'm happy because this is the profession I've chosen to do. But it's against a guy, a baby I used to raise in my club.
Do you find that is, at least for you, continuously the road to success through some bittersweet kind of?
Well, it looks that way. That's where this one's heading.
Is it more sweet than bitter? Is it, you know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, of course it's more. I'll be a liar if of course it's more sweet. Of course it's more sweet than bitter. Bitter meaning that I'd rather it wasn't against those personnels.
right.
But it turns out it is people that are close to me.
I mean, your life overall. I know we're not going to talk about your whole life, but I know you better than I know most trainers and people. Like, you trained me. I've actually had serious conversations with you. So I just know how hard scrabble you are. Like, you're a tough guy, but a very kind-hearted and sweet guy. And I can sense in you that there's like a kind of a deep-seated heaviness. Like,
yes, there is. You know me well enough. Yes, there is.
So, as a whole in life, is this something that you have to continuously get over? Is there always some seeming like, unfair or more difficult than usual hurdle for you as an individual to get to where you need to be?
Yeah, I'm more, like I said to you, from the moment I came out of my mother's womb, I've been an underdog. I'm not the only one in the world that it's not that I'm feeling sorry for myself. No, I'm just telling you my own experience. I feel that I'm 62 years old now, and the what I've had to do to carry on. Sometimes I lie in bed, I'm thinking, how are you carrying on? I don't drink, I don't smoke. I've never tasted anything that will make me hallucinate, and I'm always sober. Mm-hmm. So it's very difficult. Yeah. So I thank God Almighty, the Most High, to make me the way she or he has made me.
You know that the fighting spirit is what you describe. How do I keep going? Yet you do. You keep persevering, and here we are on the cusp of another incredible opportunity for a fighter that you've brought to this moment. Derek Chisora, the same. He's a fighting man. He's, obviously not one who wants to hang the gloves up or lay it down.
Warrior.
And we are right on the horizon of him having yet another fight. But to be fair, this time out, myself included, a lot of people are saying this might be one too many. Like a step beyond what a man should do, even if he wants to do it. I mean, what are your thoughts on Derek Chisora stepping back in the ring in with a big puncher? Joe Joyce is not an easy win. It's a tough fight.
Oh, most definitely.
So, is it worth it to have a fight like this at his age after the wear and tear and the incredible career he's already had? Like, I don't know. I think it's difficult for some of us to watch.
Look, I get you. I get everybody. We're not ignorant by any means. But Derek's got to a point in his career where he has a wish. Sometimes we can't always be granted our wish. He wants to do 50 fights in his career, and he's out. He's done 47. Okay. If it's Joe Joyce that he spoke to me 4 weeks ago that there's a potential possibility of him meeting up with fighting Joe Joyce, and I know him better than everybody, yeah, because like I said, he brought me into he get me the gateway into this industry that's so difficult to get into. I was totally unaware of how difficult it was when I got in. Mm-hmm. I got in by mistake.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I got in by mistake. And then it's only in the last, let's say, 10 years, I've done 20. In the last first 10 years, I was like a fool on the battle front where bullets is flying everywhere. Yeah. In the military, you're supposed to get on your hands and knees and crawl so the bullets will miss you. Imagine this fool in the field. He's like, hello, why are you all fighting? I could have got shot at any time. That's the only way I could explain what I've been through. 10 years later, my eyes opened. It's like, oh my God, there's a war going on here. It's a battlefield. Yeah? Then it scares me. So if Derek didn't bring me in, How else would I have got into this?
Right.
And do you understand? So that's why I will always support him. And if that is the fight that he's going to have, that's my boy. And I will back him, right? Irrespective of what people say, they don't know him. I know him. People said Takam was going to beat him. He should retire. He demolished Takam. People said the guy he lost to when I wasn't actually with him, when Pulev first fought him in Germany, okay, and beat Derek. He came back to me. And 6 years later, after fighting Pulev, we went and beat up Pulev. They're going to write him off. Joe Joyce, if there's any time to fight Joe Joyce, it's now. Derek Chisora, okay? If that is the fight he's having, we haven't discussed it. But I've always got his back. I will always have his back.
What is it about Derek that makes you this emotional? Makes you
Because
believe?
he gave me the entrance, man. Gave me the entrance. Do you understand?
I do. I do.
Gave me the entrance.
What is it that you believe he's able to do now against Joe Joyce?
I can't go into any more. I'm not supposed to. You've drawn that out. I wasn't supposed to talk about Derek and his next fight. I don't know if the fight is signed.
It's announced. It's happening.
Yeah.
You know, July 27th, I believe.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go and talk to him. He knows. He knows. Even if I'm not gonna be his trainer for it, I will train him for it. I don't have to front it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll train him for it.
I mean, that's deep-seated love we just saw.
Well, hell
that's just authentic love, even for a guy
if I go as far as saying, if you only have one mother, right? One father. The mother who gave birth to me is my mother. And I'll go from here to thy kingdom come for my mother. Derek Chisora gave me the entrance into this industry. I know how difficult it is to get an entrance into this industry.
For your own sake, what is it that you need to accomplish in this industry after all you've been through? What would satisfy your soul and be like, you know what, I'm going to put the mitts on somebody else's hands in my gym and you know, I've done enough as a trainer?
No, everyone has plans. I have plans. I have plans to make a change. Some change. Listen,
take a break. Listen, in a moment that has everything hanging in the balance and you become victorious and then you look on the horizon and see your whole life's work ahead of you coming to fruition, and yet there's still gold to be attained, there are still things just out of your reach that require this kind of passion and love and true spirit to attain, you're going to be emotional. And a real man like yourself is going to express that because you're real in every minute of every moment. And that's what I love about you. That's what's so generous in your spirit about training a commentator, a presenter, as though I was a true fighter because that love and generosity.
You love the art of boxing. That's what I'm here to do. And so that's why I enjoy training you, because you're a pugilist student.
And this is what pugilism really is. It's that spirit, what you just seen. That is what we all have inside of us. And it's a real pleasure and a joy that you're willing to be open and vulnerable and express that for me.
You draw out me, bro.
And so that they can see that this is not a game. You don't play boxing.
No.
You live it. This is a lifestyle. This is a spirit that very few have, but those of us who have it understand what we just saw. So I'm going to let you go enjoy this victory and get prepared for the next one.
Hell yeah.
Thank you so much for your time and your honesty. Radio Rahim with Don Charles.